So today for class, we are going to learn how to write a compare and contrast essay. And to start off, I'm going to pass out these worksheets. And we're going to do an activity. So I want you both to write discrimination on the top. Write the word discrimination. And if you need help with spelling, I can help you out. Okay. So we are going to take 3 minutes, and I want you to brainstorm using this chart that has A through Z, as many words as you can that are associated with that word, discrimination. Okay?
Okay.
I'll give you 3 minutes.
Awesome to start.
Ready, set, go. All right, 30 more seconds. All right, you can stop. Okay, how was that? Was that hard? Easy?
It's difficult.
Difficult? Okay. So let's go through our list and let's see what you guys wrote. What did you write for A?
But anger.
Anger?
Yes.
Good. Jeremy?
I put black.
Oh, you got nothing for...
No. I didn't get anything for A.
Okay. No, you're good. What was the next letter that you guys had? And what did you put?
I put bigot.
Nice. Good. How does bigot connect with discrimination?
Well, just thought of being like uninformed.
Yeah, a person that's uninformed discriminates. Good.
Yeah.
What's another one you put on your paper, G?
I put gender inequality.
Okay, so discrimination based on gender. Good. Eric, what's another one of your best words on there?
For I put intolerance.
Good. And what was your connection with that?
I guess they're almost like synonyms.
Yeah.
So to be intolerant. So people who discriminate are intolerant.
Good. Jeremy?
I put unfair for you.
Yeah, the person.
Uh-huh.
So who is it unfair for? Discrimination.
To whoever being discriminated against.
Good. That's unfair. Awesome. Let's hear one more good one from each of you, and then we'll go to the next thing.
I put sad. Discrimination and sad.
So that's how you feel about discrimination.
Yes, I feel
Something
sad.
that's sad. That's wrong. Good, Jeremy. What's a good
I
one for
put
you?
mean, because it's really mean.
Good. Okay. All right. So now that we've kind of got our minds thinking about discrimination, I want us to read through this article about Major Taylor and kind of look for these ideas and flip it over onto the back side. And we're going to do something called read, write, think. So what we're going to do is you're going to switch off. Eric will read the first paragraph, and then Jeremy will summarize it in a sentence or two, and then you'll switch. And Jeremy will read the next paragraph, and Eric will summarize. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So we can do the first one together. So how about we have Eric read it, and then we'll summarize it together. Okay.
Okay.
First paragraph, right?
Yeah.
Marshall Major Taylor's exploits on the bicycle tracks of 3 continents are legend. From 1898 to 1904, he was indeed the fastest bicycle rider in the world. In 1899, he set 7 world records in the quarter mile, the 1/3 mile, the half mile, the 2/3 mile, the 3/4 mile, the mile, and the 2 mile. He did the mile from a standing start in 1.41, a record that stood for 28 years. He did the paced mile behind a 5-man windbreaker bike in 1.31 and in 1.22 behind a motorcycle pacer. He also raced and won in the longer meets, 2 mile, 5 mile, etc. He even once competed in a grueling 6-day race at Madison Square Garden and came in 8th, having logged 1,732 miles over the 142 hours of the competition.
Great. Thanks. So Jeremy, let's look at this, and how do you think we should summarize this?
I think that we should use his name, so Marshall Taylor, and that he was a master bicyclist, and
Perfect.
that he set lots of records throughout his life.
Good. So I want you both to write the summary on your paper, and using what Jeremy said, we could write a sentence like, Marshall Major Taylor, he said, was a fantastic bicyclist who broke 7 world records and did other amazing feats throughout the world. Awesome. Any questions? Okay. All right. So now you guys can go ahead and do it on your own. And if it helps while one's reading it, the other one can be following.
Okay?
But with his dazzling last-minute sprints, he was better adapted for the shorter races. During his professional career, he won hundreds of meets in the United States, Canada, France, Belgium, Switzerland, England, Italy, Denmark, and Australia. He would have won many more had he been treated fairly.
Sorry. Go ahead and read these 3 and
Oh,
summarize them. 'Cause
His
they're short.
record would be impressive for any cyclist. It was phenomenal for someone who, every time he rolled out onto the track, forced what he called the dreadful monster prejudice. It was his hard-fought victory over the racist mindset of America 100 years ago that gives him national significance. The United States in 1900s was far more segregationist than it is today. Lynch law violence still occurred in parts of the Deep South. Jim Crow laws authorized by the Supreme Court decision prevailed in many states. Most whites assumed that they were superior to blacks. Major Taylor challenged that assumption in a dramatic way.
I would say, to summarize, despite Major Taylor's phenomenal biking ability, he still faced the racism and discrimination of the day.
Perfect.
Is that good? Yeah.
So before we go to the next part, in this first section, are there any words that you could add to your list on the back? I think Eric noticed one.
What one did I notice?
Did you say? Did you say? You said he faced racism,
Yes, I did say that.
so you can add that to your list.
Oh yeah, I did say it there.
And Jeremy, just scanning this, can you find any other words yet that would go
He
in?
faced racism in Switzerland.
Oh, sorry, that does not apply. The circles. Anything else that connects with discrimination?
The lynch law.
Good. Lynch law would go under L. That's perfect. Do you know what the lynch law is? Have you ever heard of that before?
No.
So, especially in the southern states, they had this unwritten code that started from the Jim Crow laws that were actually passed, but the lynch law was not approved by the government. But it was where mobs of people would hang black people just based on their race. So, okay, good. Anything else to add to that? All right, let's go to the next two paragraphs.
Okay. Between about 1890 and 1910, the most popular sport in the land was bicycle racing, far ahead of football, baseball, and basketball. Crowds numbering 20,000 or 30,000 would show up at meets, and aspiring to be winning racer, Major Taylor was challenging Middle America in a sensitive spot. Bad enough that he was allowed to compete against the White Riders. Far worse that he could beat them all in a fair contest. By 1898, it was obvious to everyone that he was peerless. It was too much for some of the White Riders on the circuit. They decided to gang up on him, and they did. Major Taylor's autobiography, The Fastest Bicycle Rider in the World, is a compendium of many of his victories. It is also a dismal chronicle of races lost because of dirty tricks White Riders used against Taylor. They would crowd him off the track, hem him in pockets, rough him up off the field, curse and threaten him. There is no telling how often he heard the N-word and other vicious epithets. After one close race, in Boston no less, a burly cyclist got him in a chokehold that made him black out before the police dragged the assailant off. In Atlanta, where he had planned to race, he was warned to get out of town in 48 hours or else. He finally gave up riding in the Southern Circuit. He was refused hotel lodgings in St. Louis, San Francisco, and other places when riding on the Southern Circuit. He was refused when the two big cycling organizations, the League of American Wheelmen and the American Cycle Racing Association, got into a jurisdictional dispute. The ACRA tried to get him banished for life.
Jeremy, how would you summarize that?
Summarize it by saying that all the white writers would discriminate against him and cheat in order to show that they're better than him.
Yeah. And probably because they felt that they were better than him. That was a good summary. Good. Great. Let's finish. Jeremy, you read the next two. Let's see, are you starting?
We started here. About Major Taylor.
Yeah, let's have you read the next two and then Eric will finish.
Okay. But Major Taylor prevailed. He had become so big an attraction that race promoters often had to swallow their own personal prejudices and invite him to compete. His name on a racing card guaranteed a sizable gain. The contortions some of the promoters went through are revealing, almost funny. More important were the reactions of the fans. Although they undoubtedly included plenty of rednecks and good old boys, many of them were critical of the foul tactics and abuse that Taylor had to put up with. Newspapers all over the Northeast and Midwest were up in arms over the blatant unfairness of it all. Taylor became a symbol. He also became the first great black celebrity athlete. In his peak years, he made more than $35,000, a huge amount in those days.
Good. After you summarize, I want you guys to look through those two paragraphs and circle any more words that go with discrimination. Okay?
I'll say despite efforts to hinder Major Taylor, he prevailed as a successful athlete, especially in the Northern Circuit, or Northern Circuit.
Good.
We got some good ones.
What'd you find?
Did foul tactics, abuse,
And unfairness.
Good. How does foul tactics fit with discrimination?
in this case, they were using foul tactics to discriminate against Major Taylor, not the other riders.
Right. So that's saying discrimination is more than just words. It's how you treat someone, what you do to make them disadvantaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Really good. All right, and then let's finish the last two.
Okay. Always polite, always a gentleman, he paved the way for Jackie Robinson and the rest of the black athletes that the country now takes for granted. The Williams sisters of tennis fame are the latest examples, and right here I think Major Taylor becomes something more than a sports legend. He should be recognized as one of the pioneers in punching a hole through the walls of segregation that had stood ever since the Civil War, and he did it in the field of sports, a crucial venue for Middle Americans. Thanks to a group of dedicated volunteers, an impressive plaque commemorating Major Taylor is to be installed at the south entrance of the newly expanded Worcester Public Library. When that finally happens, this community will at long last properly recognize one of its most distinguished athletes and national trailblazers.
So basically, I feel like he was saying that he paved the way for other black athletes to be involved in sports, and other people are commemorating him.
Perfect. Great. Did either of you know who Major Taylor was before reading this?
And,
Do you feel like you understand a little bit more about what his significance was
yeah.
in sports? Good. Have either of you heard of Jackie Robinson?
Yes.
What do you know about him?
He's the first major league black player.
Yeah. And why is that significant? I mean, do you know who the first major league white player was? Why is it significant that he was the first black player?
I guess baseball was one of the biggest sports at that time, and there were two separate leagues. There was a black league and a white league, and nobody thought that blacks were nobody thought that blacks were as good as whites in baseball. And so when he ended up, performing really well, so I guess it made a lot of people mad, surprised a lot of people.
That's perfect. Yeah. And I don't know if it said this in here, but what you said was true. Baseball was a huge deal in American society, and so to have something that integral to people's media and their image of America to be integrating blacks was a big deal. Okay, so I have these Venn diagrams for you, and we're now going to watch a clip about Jackie Robinson. And if you want to, for a couple of seconds before, you can put the information you know about Jackie Robinson in this chart, and then add to it as we watch the clip. And one more thing, this inside circle, where the circles overlap between Major Taylor and Jackie Robinson, is the similarities that you find between the two. And things that are different are outside of the central circle. So if you can think of it, something that's a similarity, put it in the middle. Or if you just want to list them here and then later cross them out and put them into the middle, that will also work. Awesome. All right.
When Jackie Robinson took the field for the Brooklyn Dodgers on opening day, April 15, 1947, he forever changed the face of Major League Baseball. Robinson was the first African American to play in the majors in the 20th century, shattering the so-called color barrier, a 50-year-old tradition of segregation. Initially shunned by fans and even his own teammates, the infielder focused instead on being the best in the game. Robinson's raw talent soon gave Dodger fans reason to look beyond his skin color. By the end of his first season, he had racked up 12 home runs and a league-leading 29 steals, and took home the league's Rookie of the Year award. In 1949, he was named the National League's most valuable player with a batting average of .342. Despite his all-star status, life for Jackie Robinson was far from easy. On the road, he was forced to stay in separate hotels. And he had agreed in his contract to turn the other cheek when faced with racial insults and threats of physical violence. Robinson kept his word and his dignity. In the decade he was with the Dodgers, the team played in 6 World Series, finally winning the championship in 1955.
And it's all over but the shouting and the tumult. The Dodgers win it 2-0 and win their first World Series. And this day will live long in the memory of Brooklyn, USA.
When Robinson retired from baseball in 1956, he became an outspoken champion of civil rights. Jackie Robinson wrote, "The right of every American to first-class citizenship is the most important issue of our time." Robinson's success had opened the floodgates for fellow African Americans. Within the first 5 years of his career, another 150 black baseball players had been signed to the minor and major leagues. In 1962, Jackie Robinson became the first African American inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. His pioneering achievements, both on and off the field, broke down racial barriers and helped awaken America's conscience.
Awesome. So what did you, after watching that clip, what did you think were some similarities between Major Taylor and Jackie Robinson?
They were both successful athletes.
Yeah, they were very successful.
Both discriminated against.
Yeah, how was the discrimination against them similar?
They had to stay in different hotels from the rest of the team.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
that was a good example. To say year one, how are they similar as athletes? You said they're both really talented.
They say we're both the first in their sport, and
Perfect.
they helped break color barriers.
Good. As well as they both broke a lot of like sport records. So they're really well known for that. That's good. Do you guys have anything else? Did you notice anything about similarities between their fans and how their fans like initially treated them or how it changed? Did you notice anything?
No, they initially didn't treat him well, and then they did.
Was that similar at all to Major Taylor's?
Yeah. So then at the end, people started standing up for him,
Yeah.
helping him.
Right. I think in this article it even says like the good old boys and the people that were really racist against him at first eventually got sick of it when they saw the dirty things that were happening. So slowly, I guess the similarity would be slowly the fans change their opinion on them. Good. How about just a difference from Jackie Robinson to Major Taylor?
I guess Jackie Robinson was different because he played on a team, so not only did he not have the respect of his competitors, but even his teammates didn't like him very much. Whereas at least it seems like Major Taylor, a lot of his activities were single, so he could do them by himself.
Right. So maybe Jackie Robinson had the added pressure to make it work with the team.
Yeah.
To face discrimination, maybe within the team as well. Perfect. And maybe the team had to show a lot of courage to be with him when he wasn't a single athlete. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I got that one too. So,
Good. Anything else?
not really.
Okay. Well, I will hand you both some more information on Jackie Taylor that you can look at, and I want you to finish filling out this Venn diagram in the remaining time, and then tonight I want you to fill out the further outline that will help you write your compare and contrast essay. Sound good?
Sounds
Let's
good.
work on that till about.